quick. Climate anxiety and insurance costs to define the 2026 housing market is a report. Soaring insurance premiums, etc. The 2026 homeownership trends report based on a survey of 1,000 homeowners, which isn't a ton. But here's the problem. Homeowners are balking at the idea of increased home insurance. In California, we already understand that's a problem. In Florida, they know that's a problem, but there's people that are fleeing different parts of the country saying, I'm done with the hot desert area like New Mexico and Arizona and Texas, and they're moving back to California. Same thing with Florida, from New York and New Jersey and Pennsylvania and all those areas. They're still saying, you know what, Florida, I know it's going to be more expensive. I understand that. It's okay. Now understand that this is a propaganda piece. It's probably from the insurance company, right? Insurance premiums alone jumped 24%. That's across the United States. I know it went a lot higher in California. Nearly 80% of homeowners expect it to continue in 2026. What are we to do? Regulations. Call up your politicians. State your argument saying, hey, look, this is not sustainable. We need to figure this insurance problem out, period. And I talk about the fire map, and if you're buying a house in the country or in the mountains or the hills, and it's in the fire zone, you're going to be paying fair plan. So be careful of that. The options are there. You just have to be educated and you have to know what you want and move forward with it. If you're okay paying fair plan, then that's what you get, right? Despite interest rate cuts by the Federal Reserve, a disconnect remains between the homeowner expectations and economic forecasts. While 32% of respondents believe mortgage rates will meaningfully drop, 74% indicated they would need rates to fall below 5% to consider buying a new home. And that's true because prices have contracted, but not to 2020, 2021 numbers. 80% of homeowners expect home prices to increase in 2026. This last year, we saw a 6.7% increase overall across the county. So that's just something to keep in mind. There's still demand, not as much as it was, but we also don't have the supply that we had. The supply is still way lower than the demand. So if you want to read about it, the link's in my bio, in my blog. Probate and estate sales, we're doing these. I'm talking to a bunch of people about getting their house ready to sell. And we have contractors that take your old stuff and put them on auction, get rid of them, take them to Goodwill or wherever. But it's a whole process and it's an extra couple steps for you. And if you do it yourself, it's going to take you time, energy, and money that you should be focused on your family and taking care of work and all that stuff. So we specialize in it. Let me know if you have any questions. Trump just announced today taking steps to ban corporate home purchases. Corporate America, the man screwing over the renters. Yes, that's true for the most part. But for the most part, it's mom and pop investors who bought a house, let's say in 2021 at 3% interest, and they said, this isn't my forever home. And then they buy another home, and they rent that other house out. That's the majority of the renters. However, this ban on institutional investors, now he doesn't have the power to do it. He has to ask Congress to help out and create the laws to make this happen. But anybody with any corporation with over 1,000 homes needs to offload some of those homes. That's the potential plan. It's not in law yet, but understand that will release some supply. How much? Probably not a lot. Let's figure this out. I saw this number here. 1 in 3 homes purchased by investors. The broader investor segment, which includes home flippers and small-time landlords, mom and pops, represent a growing share of buyers in a sluggish housing market. Absolutely. If the prices are contracting, it's a great time for investors to buy. Even with that growth, however, a separate report from Batch Data found the mega investors with over 1,000 properties hold just 2.1% of the investor-owned inventory. That means there's a huge amount of small and medium-sized homeowners or investors that own more than one house. Cotality has reported similar numbers with 29% of single-family home purchases last June coming from investors. That's crazy when you think about it. But here's the thing. If you need to offload your house and it's not selling for what you think, let's talk to some investors. When I talk about probate, I always call up my probate on my investor list. I have a huge list of investors. And I say, here you go. Here's the address. Come take a look. Give me your best bet. And 95% of the times we don't take the offer, but at least we have offers in hand. And that gives us a little bit more leverage. Bank-owned property of the week, Saddle Rack Street, number 234. Not my listing. This is bank-owned. $515,000 for a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, 790 square foot condo. But you're downtown. You're close to downtown. It's newer. That's a good thing. And you have a pool that you get to pay for. We're going to take a look at the HOAs real quick. So this looks like it was built in the early 2000s. Nice little weight room. On market 51 days. Walk score is 85. Now, look, this is a great place because it's between Meridian and Race. It's where Saddle Rack, the bar, Honky Tonk used to be. Big, huge condominium complex. And you're right near San Carlos and Valley Fair's over there. So it's centrally located. It's a nice place to be. However, you're paying $660 a month for the HOA. Not a fan of that. That's my argument against HOAs. HOAs, I think, have to be regulated. I think it's got to be something that the government comes in and says, okay, this is where you are. You need to show us why those rates are so high. The HOA rates, if it's anything over 300, it's out of control. And that's just my opinion. And if you want to know where it is, it's not walking distance to Castro Street, just so you know. But it is close to Shoreline. It's close to Facebook and LinkedIn and all that. So maybe a good possibility. This looks like it was flipped. Yep, definitely looks, smells, and tastes like a flip. Not bad looking. If you're interested in looking, let me know. Set up a time for it to buy. This has been on market 88 days. I think we can get a steal on this one. Yeah, let's see. Homes on market 90 days. You can check a whole bunch of them. Omira right here, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Tons of them here. A lot of great opportunities for you. Now, here's a real quick recap of 2025. You saw the numbers started ticking down, and now we're January 7th. So the numbers are going to start ticking back up because that's the way the market runs. I think March, April, May is going to be our season. I already have a listing. I'm going to go visit them on Saturday. I think they want to get it on market as quickly as possible because they have a job relocation. That's the kind of supply that we're talking about, right? Santa Clara County for sale pending 7 days. Everything's chunked down, and then we have a massive drop of homes for sale. So you go from Santa Clara County homes for sale. We started with 670. Our average this year was 1,000. We need to be at 2,000 to make it a balanced market. And we're at 567. Same thing with San Jose, 276 for sale. We had an average of 500, and last year we ended up with 306, meaning inventory is going down. The demand's not going down. The demand is still there. We had 27 closings 4 weeks ago, and we had 24 homes go back on market. Not last week, but in totality. So that number's shrinking as well. For sale in Santa Clara, it was 576. We had 36 houses go pending and 65 closed. That was from 4 weeks ago. We had 52 back on market, 7 houses withdrew, 59 expired, and 20 canceled. In the beginning of the year, everything gets a refresh. Everything